Welcome back to Switchcast Live. Thank you for joining us. We know that you've missed us the last 3 weeks. Okay, well, we've missed you. You may not have missed us at all, but we haven't been here the last 2 weeks, but we're happy to be back. I am your host, Doug Tabbitt, and with me tonight is my good friend, Jon Sabo, back for the 4th or 5th time. He was our inaugural guest on the first ever episode. Switchcast is the automotive-related podcast where we're searching for the truth and the humor in the car industry. That's right. If it ain't true, it better be funny. Notably missing tonight is Tyler Sanders. He is down with the Rona, but he'll be back next week, Lord willing. And Ethan, our producer, is picking up the slack, moderating your comments and questions. So if you're watching live anywhere, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, we're debuting live on Instagram tonight as a soft launch because Boxcast, our sponsor, has now integrated with Instagram. So we're trying that out. So throw your comments and questions for myself or John in there, and Ethan will do his best to get the good ones over.
My best keyword. Yeah.
Well, you know, you got to manage all those platforms at once.
Semantics there.
Yes. It's tough. I couldn't do that, John.
There is no try, only do. Right. Isn't that what you're supposed to say?
Yoda.
Is that Yoda?
Do it or do not. There is no try.
That's it.
There's a joke there about double or
easy.
Whatever.
Easy.
Try is 3. No, not gonna. I need more time for that.
I was about to knock you out.
Well, couldn't reach. Automotive news. We like to cover some hot topics here, and there have been some really crazy things happening this week in the e-commerce space and the EV space. But we're not really known for breaking news here on Switchcast, but more for our highly researched and analytical take on what's going on. So therefore, the news this week, the hot news that Vroom, one of Carvana's competitors and one of the leading players in the automotive e-commerce space, ceased all retail buy-sell operations a couple days ago. That will not be talked about tonight. That'll be covered next week. As well as Hertz selling off 20,000 EVs from their fleets to go back to internal combustion cars. That won't be talked about tonight. That'll be next week. As well as the bankrupt Lordstown Motors, which took over the old Chevy Cruise plant in Lordstown, Ohio. So that is coming back as Land X, but with the same CEO as the bankrupt Lordstown Motors. No conflict of interest there, but we'll also get into that next week, as well as some of Carvana's financials and why it's still, in my opinion, a sham. So all that, a teaser. If you want to stop watching now and just skip to next week, that's fine. Yeah, but we want to do our research, right? We want to be highly informed. So tonight we're just going to talk about things we've learned from the car market and in the car business this week. We're going to have our usual shrewd negotiator and market update, our question of the week, our wall of shame, and almost all of the segments tonight are personal stories from just experience in the car business. Sometimes we pull stuff from the internet, sometimes from hot tips from our viewers, but we've had some fun things come our way just in the normal course of buying and selling cars, and that's kind of why we started this podcast. We'll have some fun stories tonight for you. With that, we'll get right into it. Yeah, Johnny, how's it feel to be back?
Comfortable.
And you don't have to do a shot of Malort this time at the end.
Never again.
No.
That's history.
Tonight's Liquid Courage is brought to us by Wild Turkey. What's the specialty, Dan? Master's Keep 1 for you fancy bourbon fanatics out there.
That's fancy.
It's a fancy bourbon.
Is there a Master's Keep 2?
Not yet.
All right. Well,
it's a sequel. I learned something about the car business this week. I didn't learn it. It's a strategy we try. So usually when cars aren't selling, you lower the price, right?
Not anymore. Not lately.
Well, okay. Not between 2020 and 2022 and a half. But the market is declining again, so like if it doesn't sell, you reduce the price.
Sure.
Right. Usually. And of course, when you're advertising on a third-party website, you get notifications. Buyers get notifications on a car they're watching if a price has changed. But that if the price goes down or up, they get that notification. So we had a 2004 Mazda Miata, really, really nice car. We had it for almost 200 days in inventory, which is not great. 60 days is our average turn.
Senior citizen of inventory.
It was ready for the AARP, Automotive Association of Retired
Discounted
People.
Wendy's for breakfast.
Free sausage. Shoot. So I dropped the price like 18 times. We were like way below book value, and it was below our cost. And finally, I got frustrated with all the tire kickers, all the inquiries we were getting, and I raised the price like $1,000 at the beginning of the year, which we did with a few of our cars. And sure enough, it sold for asking price within a week of raising the price.
Doug would like to apologize to the buyer of that car for his business tactics.
But sometimes it's all perception.
We've done that in the past many times.
I get it.
If you price it too low, people think it's junk. If you price it too high, people like to talk about it. There has to be,
Yeah. No, sometimes it is perception. Perception is reality in the car world. And sometimes if cars are for sale too long, just by the fact that they haven't sold yet, people assume that there's a bad reason that they haven't sold, and so they don't buy it. So you got to take it off the market for a month and then put it back on.
So good that there's something wrong with it. What's wrong with the Carfax? Nothing. What's wrong with the paint? It's original. It's got a full tank of gas. I don't know. I'll walk away from that one.
What kind of gas? So speaking of not selling, wonderful transition to our market update segment. There's a 2004 Porsche Carrera GT the last month that is a really interesting discussion point. It went unsold on Bring a Trailer. It's a 3,500 mile car, super low collectible miles, but also a Canadian market car, and just kind of boring GT silver over black. It bid to $1.37 million on Bring a Trailer, and then they relisted it on PCAR Market, where it got bid to $1.25 million. Neither one sold, which is pretty surprising because a year or so ago, a 2,000, 3,000 mile Carrera GT was about a $2 million car, right?
Easy.
So not a 50% discount, but about a 40% discount. Now, there's probably a...
Can't drive it anyway.
Well, that's what I was getting to, right? So to tell us about the stop drive order on the Carrera GTs for people who don't know.
I don't have all the data, to be honest with you.
But tell us what you do know. I don't have all of it either.
It's broken.
It's broken.
It's broken from
the
factory.
front ball joint, I think it is.
Suspension base could collapse. It's Porsche released, for what I know, is a do not drive order on all Carrera GTs until repair.
Right. And some insurance companies are refusing to insure them, but not all. So you can, I guess, drive them. It's not like a legal thing. It's not like the NHTSA came out and said these are not street legal anymore.
They didn't zap the car and it won't start.
Right.
It'll run. They're just suggesting you do. They had a rear suspension issue, too, if you remember that.
Which, side note about your zapping the cars, this is why I think car guys drive old cars, is because if you own a Tesla or something like that, they could just zap it and be like, yeah,
they can brick it.
It's bricked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I was always curious, partly because I want a Carrera GT. I'm like, is this going to tank the values? I was kind of hoping it would.
It won't.
But it'll
slow it down.
This car didn't sell. Do you think it's because it's a Canadian market car? Because...
Put it on your website and raise the price.
Maybe. Well, you can buy it for 1.5. That's the buy number on that car. I personally don't think the Canadian market thing hurts it that much.
Real quick. In your opinion, why does Canadian, besides, because that's an out of warranty vehicle. There's nothing different pretty much besides a kilometer, some gauging differences, things like that.
And a sticker on the door.
Correct. Why does it hurt value so much?
Back to our what we just said about perception being reality.
Right.
People think that Canadian cars are gray market cars, and people think of gray market cars as like the old Rain Man days where they're modifying, safety pieces, modifying the emission systems, cutting into the cars. All North American spec cars are exactly the same.
Correct.
Canada, Puerto Rico, Mexico, US, they're all the same.
Sure.
All the same, except for the gauge cluster and a sticker on the door.
It used to be one of my favorite hacks. If you want something cheaper, buy it from Canada.
Right. Yeah. So other than a 2.5% duty when you bring it in and a bond that you have to get released as soon as they determine it to be like cleared for U.S. safety regulations, which they will, because all you need is a letter from the manufacturer stating that it is a North American spec car, there's really no difference.
Right.
And a gauge cluster can be swapped out for a few grand.
But to all of our viewers, it is a detraction. The cars are not as good. We're going to buy them all.
It is a detraction because of the perception.
Correct.
That's it. That's it.
And the pain in the ass of bringing it over here.
But it's not a pain in the butt because it's from Canada.
It's one further step.
Sure.
It is. You got to pay a duty and you got to do some more paperwork. I'm not saying it would ever deter me from doing it. I'm just saying it is something that it's another step or two.
It's the unknowns. It's why when you're selling a car, you try to eliminate all the questions. It's like if a car needs $5,000 in service, somebody will discount it $10,000.
The only frustrating part about the Canadian side is like you'll find a car for sale in Canada, and then you'll find out it's an ROW car, rest of world.
Rest of world, yes.
Because they only have a 15-year import with a due to R25.
Right.
So I found a 997 RS, and it was not a U.S. VIN car, so there's no chance of getting it over
right.
there.
So I want to extrapolate that a little bit because that was like super auto business nerd Porsche speak.
Sure.
Right there.
My bad.
No, it's fine. That's what we do sometimes. But ROW is shorthand for rest of world. It basically means a non-North American spec car. And you can't import, with certain exceptions, you can't easily import any European or rest of world spec car into the U.S. until 25 years has passed. There's a blanket DOT and EPA exemption for any car after 25 years. Canada has a 15-year exemption. So a lot of people are importing Euro or rest of world cars into Canada and then offering them for sale, and people aren't paying attention. They're going, "Oh, yeah, it's just a Canadian car," but it's not actually a Canadian car.
Remember that orange
it's not a
RS
North
that
American
we found
spec
that was
car.
offered?
Yeah.
And we're like, we need to get that thing. It's a club sport car, and it was already in the States. If that thing would have been purchased, we might have had a headache on our hands.
Right. Yeah,
Money would have changed hands. You never know.
There's a few GT3 RS Club Sports that are in the U.S., and they only made the Club Sports for rest of world. So
Right.
there's a few rest of world Club Sports in the U.S., and the Club Sport is a lightweight car with the roll cage,
window.
plastic Lexan rear window and rear
Seats,
side windows, the Perlon bucket seats. And a few people brought them in and just like accidentally got titles for them, but never imported them properly under the show and display exemption or any other federalization. So they're just here and have a title. So if they change hands, the next buyer's screwed.
And they can crush it.
Yeah.
From what I know.
Yeah, the feds can crush it. So you got to be really, really careful with buying anything not North American spec. But that whole thing, that whole uncertainty is why people apply a discount to Canadian cars. Like that entire discussion we just had, people get nervous about Canadian cars, but they're not that. Canadian cars are North American cars.
They might smell like maple syrup.
And hockey.
Yeah.
Find
A.
ice chunks.
A.
And Jeepers creepers. How do we get off on such a tangent? All right. Man, I don't know what to do. We don't have Tyler here to read the commercials.
We do have someone.
We do have Ethan.
Yeah, we do have me.
Ethan,
yeah.
can you read the Celebrity Machines commercial?
Oh, gosh. I don't have the copy for that.
I do. Celebrity Machines is a proud sponsor of Switchcast. Celebrity Machines offers more than 250 different screen-accurate license plates as they appeared in movies and TV shows like Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, The Fast and the Furious, Breaking Bad, and so many more. Celebrity Machines also makes our dealer insert plates as well as our commemorative 2539 plates from the fastest cannonball run ever. Visit celebritymachines.com for more info and use promo code SWITCHCAST to save 25.39% at checkout. Celebritymachines.com for all your plate needs. But not your wife's plates needs. They don't make China. Speaking of rare Porsches, continuing down the market update track, there was a 129 mile paint to sample 993 Turbo that did not sell on Bring a Trailer today for $381,000. I called this one at over 500K.
And what was the color?
So the paint to sample was silver metallic, which is about as lame as you can get for a paint to sample, because like literally Arctic silver, which is a standard color. No, Arctic was later. So polar silver was a standard color.
No, it was Arctic
on the
silver.
993. No, Arctic silver was 996. There was a I think it was Zermatt silver.
There was another silver. Yeah.
Anyway,
go ahead.
It's silver. It's friggin' silver. Somebody paid extra for silver metallic, but paint to sample is all the rage, and it's a 129 mile, 25-year-old car. So I'm like, all right, this is going to go for $500,000. But
do I smell a unplugged odometer?
There was allegations of that, because somebody was like, oh, I saw this. There was a picture of this car at Target 20 years ago or 15 years ago with 115 miles.
Polaroid camera. They run to the photomat and.
Who drives a 120 mile car to Target? It's a valid question.
It's always a valid question. Any old Porsche, you should question the mileage.
Right. Because they have the plastic odometer gears that break.
And all you got to do is,
Yes. Or you can literally pull it out with your hands, no tools required, and unplug them just like that. So there was a lot of questions about this car. Besides the fact that it was the dumbest paint to sample color ever, just silver, and it had gray supple leather interior, which Tyler's not here to defend gray leather interior, so we're just going to say it's terrible. Supple leather, so 90s. Really no notable options. It wasn't very clean. The floor mats were stained, and it had paintwork. So it wasn't
answer the question why it didn't sell. I wouldn't.
I'm saying
on that.
Why it didn't sell. That's it. And the comments were a dumpster fire because
Tires
of the whole
bald,
Target thing. And no, I mean, not that, but it wasn't presented well. And the paint to sample premium, I feel like it goes with like a cool color, not silver
we've seen
on
a lot
gray.
of bad. I mean, not bad. Bad's not. I mean, a lot of classy paint to sample colors. Remember that 3.2 Carrera? That was the guy's favorite, like Gucci suit.
Oh yeah.
Gray leather interior was to match the shoes that he had.
Yeah. So Armani.
Yeah, Armani. Sorry, yes.
Get me Armani on the phone. Yeah. So,
but if you looked at the car, it was like, okay, that has to be a standard
gray
palette because it wasn't special. Didn't look that special.
Other than being a metallic color in 1985, which was kind of rare. Sure.
Whatever.
But yeah, it was gray on gray. But the guy matched it to his Armani suit and shoes and nicknamed the car Armani.
Pretension.
Yeah. Leather to sample, exterior to sample, whatever. Yeah. But to that point, right? So paint to sample has gotten out of hand in terms of like the bandwagon.
Well, you also look at the spread of standard colors to paint to sample. It used to be you had 25 paint to sample in the certain model. Now it's like 40% of the production in the specialty cars.
Yeah.
Not the standard cars, but in the specialty cars.
Honestly, there's so many paint to sample cars now that I feel like at some point they're going to become worth less. Like there's going to be a devalue.
White is rarer than a paint to sample.
Right. Like there'll be we'll get PTS depreciation. PTSD.
Oh.
That's what the owners will have.
Dude, that was deep.
That's pretty good.
Deep.
Yeah.
PTSD.
Because paint to sample is just becoming too common. But now, so now because paint to sample is so common, they have paint to sample plus. Have you heard about this?
Absolutely. Ferrari's been doing that for years.
Right. So paint to sample plus is where you take like a custom swatch to Porsche and say, I'm going to pay even more. So what's a regular paint to sample cost? Like $20,000?
No, it's like $14,000.
GT cars are over 20, I think.
No. It's 15. Let's just say 15,000.
Okay,
roughly about
15 to 26 based on the research I did today.
28's paint to sample plus.
Okay, right. So $10,000 premium for paint to sample plus. Right. So paint to sample standard now is essentially a picking from a color palette of Porsche's past colors. So it's not really paint to sample. It's just I want a color that's not offered, and you're paying $15,000, right?
Right.
for a color that used to be offered. So now they're offering Paint to Sample Plus, which is an extra 10 grand on top of that. So 25-ish, 28. Yeah. For a color that you bring to them. And I saw this and I'm like, this is the dumbest thing ever. That's what Paint to Sample actually used to be. That's how it got its name.
It used to be Special Wishes, and then it was changed.
Right.
But if you want to, that's a page out of Ferrari book. Okay? They've been doing Paint to Sample Plus forever. Like, if you have a 1984 308 in Rosso Corsa, and you want your 296 to be the same Rosso Corsa, you got to pay $28,000 for a red car.
Right.
Because there's 18 different variants of Rosso Corsa through the years.
Right. Rosso Corsa 322.
Mid-90s
Rosso Corsa,
355 is different than a newer car versus...
Yep. Yeah, because we had a customer who painted his newer Ferrari to the same Rosso Corsa that was on the F40.
355.
F40.
It was 355 to match his 488.
Okay. I thought it was 488 to match his F40, but whatever. 355 and F40 might have had... I know that. Except right now you're on my left, so...
Ding.
Anyway, the point is this whole Paint to Sample thing has gotten out of hand because they're now charging extra over and above the Paint to Sample. Paint to Sample Plus for what Paint to Sample originally was in the first place, which is just a color. You brought a swatch to them and say, I painted my wife's lipstick. And now, because every Porsche guy they're rich Corvette guys. It's I want a bespoke. I want a one-of-one Porsche.
I'm going to a car show of PTS only.
PTS display, PTSD.
Well, there is again, but there is. What's that? What was that show that they put on? It was something of color, like.
Oh yeah. Out in Northern California. Yeah. Rare shades. Yes,
but there's so many bad Porsche colors through the history. Again, color's subjective. I'm very aware of that. Somebody loves it, somebody doesn't. There's colorblind. There's you see things differently. But like sepia brown. Somebody just painted
Poopa brown.
No, it's more like tailgate day after drinking a ton of beer. Shit brown. It's just not good. Somebody just painted their 911 GT3 Touring that color.
People got that color, John. You can't. Well, they're not watching the podcast, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, again, I don't like it, but if they like it, good for them. But
people are bragging about it because it's Paint to Sample and saying like this is so special and so great and so beautiful because I paid 15 or 20 grand extra for it. I think Lee King got a sepia brown Paint to Sample car.
No, he didn't. That was bronze metallic. That was a good color. Better color.
Better.
There's metallic brown. I could do it. That like flat.
Like the macadamia or whatever.
No, that's a good color too.
Yeah.
Again, if you have that color, I apologize, but I don't like it.
Get the color because you like the color, not because you're trying to buy exclusivity. I think that's a real point of it.
Don't finance extra money because of a color.
And don't get it because you think you're going to get more on resale. That's the worst. I'm going to get painted. Like people call us, what color or what option should I get for the next guy?
Right.
For resale.
White.
I don't like those phone calls.
Black, silver. Nobody hates it, but nobody loves it. It's okay, except for maybe me. Captain Boring.
All right, so before we beat this horse completely unalived. Oh wait, we're not on TikTok anymore.
Unalived?
So,
okay,
before we beat this dead horse.
Thing.
So one final note on the PTS Paint to Sample craze. It has gone so nuts that a Paint to Sample color card set from Porsche, right? Like that's right. The color card set is a thing that you would take home for free at Home Depot to decide if you want Martha Stewart or Sherwin-Williams colors, right?
Yeah.
It sold recently on P-Car Market for $650.
I am so excited because I have one of those. And it's definitely not worth more than $600 to me.
Did you get it for free?
Yeah. When I was ordering a car, they're like, "Here you go. Pick a color," and I picked white.
It's insane. What are you gonna do with that? Like, is that a party trick? Bring it out and be like, "Look at these colors."
No, it sits on my desk and I look smart.
Well, but the guy who paid $650 for it. Well,
no comment. Staying away from that one. That's a lot of money for paint swatches.
Crazy.
I mean, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you look at those colors every night. You sleep tight.
Dreaming about like tangerine and signal orange and crap.
When you're in the car, all you can see is the color of the mirrors. Like, it's.
You guys we got a super chat here.
All right. Yes.
This one comes from
Are they asking us to stop talking?
No, not yet. From Fanfic Rocks. Good day from Australia.
Good day, mate.
What was his name? He smokes rocks?
Fanfic Rocks.
We don't know anything about Holden's. Next question.
He says, what would you say is the biggest bullshit car in the world?
Bullshit car. Define bullshit.
I know what he means. It's like the paint to sample thing of like.
No, he's going one for a model.
Okay, so what car is the biggest like BS or like poser car, right?
Tesla Model 3.
That's a valid answer.
I think it's whatever Tesla that has the gull wing doors on it.
That's the Model X.
Okay.
X.
That you can control with a remote and it'll like talk to you and do the lights and stuff. I feel like that's the biggest BS car.
I like that answer.
People love them. I mean, there's definitely following for it, but I'm trying to think of something a little bit.
That was the one that there was some older lady that brought it to every Cars and Coffee, the Tesla Model X, and she would show off the remote thing with she would make the car dance, but then it almost ran over somebody, and she couldn't stop it, and she's doing like the typical old lady, you're like, oh, just stabbing at her phone.
It's pretty
like,
fantastic.
Please stop.
That's rough.
And it literally almost ran somebody over.
I knew it plays like Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yes.
Like the windows roll
Yep.
up. I knew a guy who had one, and he would like make it fart, and he thought it was like the coolest thing ever.
That's
pretty
funny.
He had like a fart button on his phone.
Funny.
And he would like press it. It was like in the
well,
shop.
Honda
and
Civics will
like,
fart every time you let off the gas.
So is that the biggest BS car? The biggest BS car is
I
the
think
Tesla
it probably
Model.
is.
I mean, you're saving the world while driving an electric car. And you're putting on a show that everybody enjoys. Yeah, that sounds like bullshit.
Also the new Lamborghini Countach. $2.5 million rebodied Lamborghini Aventador.
I disagree. I've been around it, and
we have to go to a commercial. Look at that.
Man,
I'm out. That is, I will disagree with that car.
Just kidding. I want to hear your opinion.
When that car was released, I was 100% in your court. The second I got close to one, I was like, they actually did justice on that car, and it's beautiful. Like it's the way they did the interior, the exterior. If you get within 10 feet of that car, your opinion will change.
I like it, but for 10x the price of the car that they rebodied, that's
thing. You can't get it anyway. Even if.
But that's why it's a BS car.
No,
because it's purely exclusivity.
Well, that every hypercar is that right now?
No, I want them to be fundamentally good also.
It is fundamentally good. It's a V12. I mean, they didn't lose the motor at least. It does have like a KERS system or something in it, but it does have a V12 in it. I don't know. It's basically the Revelto. It was the future driveline, for what I know. But whatever, I liked it. I'll go on record with that.
Cool.
We got
Cyan on there. Cyan or whatever the hell.
Cyan. We got Instagram. I gotta shout them out because this is our inaugural night on Instagram. If you're joining us there, so welcome.
IG.
Where is the Instagram phone, by the way? Like, where do I look?
Courtesy of Boxcast, our sponsor.
Oh, it just goes right there.
Yeah.
We only have to look one place.
Well, no, I will say though. Now, this is not a Boxcast thing. It would never be a sponsor thing. But this is an Instagram thing. They don't crop the video that well because so they take like a
because they're filming landscape
exactly.
For
so they're
YouTube.
cropping it. So if you're wondering,
Gotcha.
like we do know how to frame a video. They're like staring at like half of each of you guys right now because it's going right down the middle. But anyway, they Tainted Forerunner on Instagram says that's good. They say Maseratis deserve a mention for BSer cars.
They're just bad. Period.
Modern ones, they're rough.
It's like a step up from the Nissan Altima.
I have a couple clients that have the Levante that really, really like it. I mean,
Maserati.
Sure. MC20, you can
The
get
CX5.
$40,000 discount on it now because they can't move it. And it was just priced.
Okay, I would drive an MC20.
Yeah, you would.
That's a beautiful car.
It is a beautiful car. But there, you can walk into a dealership right now and buy one at a discount.
Right. But
Which,
I
when
wouldn't
they
because
came
I'd
out-
still lose my shirt when I left.
Well, I think what do they call the drop top version of that?
Spider?
No, it's not her name. Whatever, doesn't matter. But it was like 360,000. The example I saw. That's shark infested waters. If you hand somebody $350,000 cash, that wouldn't not be on my short list.
It's a lot of paint to sample options.
You can get Paint a Sample Plus with that.
Speaking of Boxcast, Boxcast is a live streaming company based in Cleveland, Ohio, and they serve broadcasters and viewers around the world. Their founders launched Boxcast back in 2013 with one purpose: to make people part of the experience. If you're looking to live stream your podcast, church service, car show, sporting event, wedding, or even your cannonball attempt, Boxcast is an easy, flexible live streaming platform for organizations. Boxcast is so easy, we're broadcasting this show with a phone, and it's going straight to Facebook, Instagram now, and YouTube. Head over to switchcars.com/Boxcast for your free trial. That is switchcars.com/Boxcast. All right, moving on to some of the special segments of the night that you've all looked forward to. I'm sorry, Hank is not with us tonight. We will not be graced with the presence of the Corvette curmudgeon, but
Is that you?
Should be back next week. Don't know what you're talking about. Again, if you're watching with us live, throw your questions and comments in, and Ethan will relay the best ones or the highest paying ones to us. You can also, if you're listening to the audio podcast later on, you can submit those via switchcast.live. We always prioritize questions that come through our website, and you can catch up on old episodes on switchcast.live and also find out where the best place is to download the audio podcast. And speaking of the audio podcast, if you guys like this show, please rate us, give us a 5-star review, share it. Anything you can do that will help with those algorithms, because that is partially how we grow. It's not just you guys listening, but also telling the bots that you listen and enjoy the show. If you don't like the show, just put it on repeat in your cousin's Spotify or something like that. Don't leave us a bad review. Just stop listening. So, so let's see. The Wall of Shame tonight.
Can we go back to one thing real quick?
Yes, we can.
All right, Paint a Sample Plus.
Okay.
So then, what are ChromaFlare cars? Is that Paint a Sample Plus Plus?
Oh, ChromaFlare is just awesome. 90s goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Violet
That bamboo
ChromaFlare was a
ChromaFlare and-
standard color on the Millennium Edition 911.
Not what I'm talking about.
What ChromaFlare are you talking about?
Remember that?
The color shift stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, the word ChromaFlare is still in that color.
Okay.
It was free on the Millennium Edition.
That highest price GT2 RS ever, like $700,000.
Yeah.
That was that bamboo ChromaFlare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mystachrome.
Well, I mean that was What, Mystic
Ford
Cobra?
started it.
Mystic
Yeah.
Cobra.
95. That's still a dream car for me. Wall of Shame tonight is customers that deserve to get Google reviews. Dealers always get them, but we never get to give them back to customers. So somebody inquired on our Austin Healey, which is priced at $44,000, and he inquired, I think, through Facebook and said, "Is this a scam?" And we said, "Nope." He said, "Why is it $50,000 below value? Like, this has to be a scam." We're like, "No, it's not a scam. Like, we're a legit dealer." He said, "Well, give me your phone number so I know it's not a scam." So he did actually call us, and he was all bent out of shape that we were so far underpriced, like literally half of
So he wasn't
his
a buyer,
apparent
he was just a
value.
price critic.
Well, but usually price critics tell us we're overpriced. But he thought we were so far underpriced that it was a scam. So we said, "Well, you can buy it." He goes, "Well, finance rates are killer."
All right.
I'm like, "All right, well,
Finance a Healy.
Right. If it's 50 grand underpriced, doesn't
You can
matter
offer
the finance rate.
144 months.
It could be 100% financing. You sell it in a week. So yeah, everybody's got an opinion. Yeah. Scaminator. Usually
Started off pretty good.
Yeah. Usually we talk about possible tricks and scams and detecting scams from people on the internet, but we're going a little different tack this week. This one is more of like spotting tricks by dealers, not outright scams, but kind of like the white lies of the car business. And this was a personal story of ours as well. There was a 9,000-mile Jaguar XK8 that got offered to us, and we really wanted it, made the deal, and then our guys went and looked at it and said, nope, we're passing because the underside was crusty. Not just like a little bit of pitting. Like it was pretty bad. Like this car had seen a bunch of Ohio winters, and especially for a 9,000-mile car. I mean, if it had 50K, wouldn't have been that bad, but 9,000 miles, no way. A few days later, it shows up for sale online at a different dealer locally, claiming to be perfect, never driven in inclement weather.
You sent me a picture of that.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah. And they were even pointing like, please see our underside photo so you can see how clean this is. And my guys found the listing. They're like, this is the same car. This is the same car. I'm like, there's no possible way it's the same car. That car was parked outside next to a salt truck.
It looked
or
like
something.
the bottom was covered in Wheaties.
Yeah. And so we looked at the underside shots. We checked the VIN. It was the same car. The underside shots, they had friggin' like chassis blacked the underside and covered up all of the rust. It looked brand new. Like 3 days later.
They're restoration experts.
No. It's friggin' spray paint experts. Shady crap. And it ticks me off because like they probably made $5,000 on that car because they spray painted the underside and
buyer beware.
Yeah. So ticked me off more that we didn't get the car because I was really looking forward to having a 9,000-mile collectible XK8, but whatever. But it ticks me off more when we pass on profit because we want to be like somewhat ethical and decent people.
You don't. You're not mad about that. You have to pass on that.
Yeah, but I'm mad that somebody else takes it
return.
and instead of saying, oh no, this car isn't worth X wholesale, we're going to pay less. No, we'll pay that. And we'll just cover up the flaws. So yeah.
Well, that's used car sales in general.
Yeah, but thing to look out for. Just because you have underside photos doesn't mean it's good. Go there with a friggin', putty knife or something and scrape the underside.
Or just look.
Yeah.
Fanfic Rocks, again on YouTube, has reminded me that we last season rewarded him a free super chat question because apparently he stumped you with something. This sounds vaguely familiar.
I didn't make something up to look smart.
Yeah, right. It's good. That's
baffling.
Yeah. So he wanted to cash this in tonight, and his question is this. I was going to ask, is there a list of all the signature colors, like that specific red that certain prancing horse has, as well as the chroma color coordination, like one for a form of white?
What?
That's the question. Dan
Doucette, do you have any idea what he's asking?
Yeah, I think we all need to hear that question.
Here's the question. Fanfic Rocks. Oh, here he goes. He resent again. Is there a list of all the signature colors, like that specific red that certain prancing horse has?
Rosso Corsa,
as well as the chroma color coordination, like one for a form of white.
He's asking, like, if I understand the question.
Sure.
There is like a Porsche pearl white that is a special color that's not on the list. It's from the 80s.
So is he asking for like a list of all of those forgotten colors?
That was the one that sold for $650. Right. It was the swatch.
Yeah, but that doesn't have all those. It does not have flare on it.
Renbo.com is a great website for Porsche specific. So that's not going to give you like the Rosso Corsa and all that. But essentially all of the Porsche colors over the years with their color codes is on this site called Renbow. Somebody took the time to put together all of those colors. It's a fantastic website. So
the Ferrari one, you probably.
I don't even know if Ferrari knows the answer to that.
They have the codes, but you'd have to have a real reason why you want it.
Yep.
Like if you have a car from the 90s that you want to match to your modern car, they'll take your money.
Yep. Might not actually be that color. They'll just tell you it is, and you won't know any better. Yep.
What's the site called? Renbow?
Renbow.org.com, something like that. Just Renbow.
Google it. Yeah,
Yep. The Shrew Negotiator, brought to you unofficially by VinWiki, and they may not admit that they sponsors this segment, but we got not one this week, but two. So I'm on the hunt for 79 to 81 Trans Am for reasons that won't be disclosed, but if you have a decent one, hit me up. My number one rule is no rust. Mark Spence, dear friend of Switchcast, found one for me that appeared nice, but upon closer inspection had some rust holes in the frame.
Rust holes in the frame?
Right, yeah, rust holes. He's like, oh, it's no big deal. I'm like, Mark, I told you, no rust. Despite that fact, in the seller's description on eBay, the seller led with, like, right in the description, quote unquote, price is firm, cheapskates. Well, that's
at least he's forward.
That's one way to negotiate or not negotiate.
That's just how he knows he's gonna get some low offers.
Yeah, because of the friggin' hole in the frame.
That's just old-fashioned lightning. That's just faster. It gets faster with the more holes.
Oh gosh. Our second one is this is an interesting one. It's a 2014 Audi R8 V10. I think our friend Don Marconi submitted this one. The description in the for sale ad was that it's a clean title, but it was bought back by Audi. So essentially manufacturer buyback or lemon, which sometimes will brand the title and sometimes won't. It was also totaled by insurance. So total loss damage.
It had damage front and rear, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And underneath and all of that.
So it's mint.
Carfax says otherwise, though, as it was branded a lemon. So often if you have a lemon car and you turn it back in, they will brand the title.
We dealt with that in the GT3s and 14. Also.
Yeah, right, the engine replacement cars. But it appears that the current title is indeed clean. But it was branded in Michigan, went to Iowa, then to Illinois.
Did it go
then
to Florida?
In Illinois it had a correction to record and magically was a clean title. But then it went back to Michigan and somehow the lemon brand didn't follow it. So I don't know what they're doing up there, not paying attention.
They got washing machines for cars.
But usually you don't bring it back to the same state in which it was branded. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's a different car. Like, Ohio's system's smarter than that.
Don't buy that car.
Right. So I did find pictures of this car. And it definitely, the description said it just hit a curb. And yes, it definitely hit a curb, but I think it ate it for lunch. The front and rear bumper were kind of like ripped off. And then the front left wheel was straight, but the right wheel was like cocked slightly, which is never a good sign.
Positive camber?
No, positive toe.
I see what you're
Like, so, the underside is going to be kind of scary on that thing. But no, it's a clean title. It's a clean title. Total loss insurance, lemon car, but a clean title. That's the important thing.
How cheap is it?
You can't pay too much for the right car, too little for the wrong car.
100%, but I was just curious what they're asking.
I think it was like $80,000.
All right, well, dreamer.
Yikes.
Paying for a lot of words on that Carfax report. Pay by the word, you're getting a deal.
Yeah. So this one is good. So we haven't done the appraiser segment this year, which was me and Tyler guessing values of cars on online auctions. But I feel like I had to bring it back for this one because we got sent a Corvette for sale, and it came with a certified appraisal. And I sent this one to Sabo earlier today. I'm curious to hear his thoughts on this because, Sabo, correct me if I'm wrong, you do appraisals for people, right?
I sure do, but I did not read it.
Awesome. Are you certified?
Yes.
By whom?
You, myself, my clients, my insurance companies, I guess. They don't kick them out.
All right. So
I did take a class a long time ago.
Okay.
But it has...
Are you certified by the state of Ohio?
I have a driver's license.
Okay. Right. Well, that's not a thing. Ohio
Right.
doesn't... There's no state regulations on appraisers. So... But
You just ruined my whole company.
What?
I'm just kidding.
No. But you've done appraisals for insurance companies. They've taken them, right?
Absolutely.
Have your appraisals ended up in court?
Nope.
No? Have you done them for any legal, like law firms or anything?
Yes.
Estates? Yep.
Yes.
Have they held up?
Yes.
So they have been theoretically in court.
Yeah, I guess so.
And they've held up.
Yes.
But you don't have a stamp. You're not certified. You're not like...
Just 25 years of experience.
All right. Good enough. Good enough. So the way I'm getting it, where I'm going with that is most automotive appraisers, there's no like state licensing or state regulations in any state to the best of my knowledge. There are some online companies that like certify appraisers, and I guess at least to do donations to get, the IRS requires like a certain type of certification. But other than that, like, again, I've done appraisals. I've done them for insurance companies. I've done them for estates. I've done them for divorces, and they've all held up. Nobody's ever said, oh, I need some special stamp on it, because it's all just third-party companies certifying these things. There's no government organization or whatever. But anyway, this Jerry Martell certified appraisers thing came across my desk for 1977 Corvette. And this guy, he's got a laundry list of certifications and stuff. He has an associate who has a Massachusetts license number, something or other, for I don't know what. He's the Bureau of Certified Auto Appraisers, International Society of Appraisers, Society of Automotive Engineers, International Automobile Appraisers Association, member of the Rolls-Royce Owners Club, Ferrari Owners Club, SCCA, NADA Advisory Board member, Rick Boscarden member, BCAA, I don't even know what that is, Ray Booth, Massachusetts license, Veteran Motor Car of America, Antique Automobile Club of America, Classic Car Club of America.
Is he just a member? Or
I think he's just a member of a lot of these things, but they're all on his resume. So this is a 1977 Chevrolet Corvette.
I know this well.
Oh, yeah. And this is the appraisal. It's a fun one. This 1977 Corvette is in investment grade condition. All Corvette models have collector appeal with straight restored examples escalating in value through the years. Do all Corvette models have collector appeal? I don't know.
This is the most collected car in the U.S., right?
This is his appraisal. The repaint of several years ago still has show quality luster. It currently has high-cost aftermarket wheels with the correct radials mounted. This is truly a beautiful car.
Dude's already fired.
So, I'm sorry, I know we can't show pictures on this thing. The high-cost aftermarket wheels were awful, like 90s bling 3-spoke chrome wheels.
Well,
they were like 20-inch wheels on a 77 Corvette.
Really?
They're awful.
Bling bling.
They are friggin' like O'Reilly special.
Were they primes?
I don't know.
People over the age of 40 will understand what I'm saying.
I feel like you would see this on a Dodge Avenger from 1998. But this guy put him on 77 Corvette. Anyway, high-cost aftermarket wheels. Mechanics. The 350 V8 has had over 10 grand spent on it. It's in great running condition. Anything needed is always done. I feel like
Needs
this not
wheels.
Fair. It's not fair for an appraiser to say that. Let's see here.
Well,
he keeps going.
To the appraisal thing real quick. When you do appraisals, it's not, again, value is also what somebody's willing to pay for something is always the value, right? But value, when you write appraisals, you're also just trying to write for insurance companies replacement value. If the car is stolen, totaled, or destroyed, and you want another car, you need a value that will get you another.
Correct.
To the same thing. So that's what appraisals are usually.
But people take those and think
Correct. But I mean, this guy sends this to my insurance person. They're going to be like, "Oh, yeah, we
Right.
need a new
Well,
one."
you're letting facts get in the way of me
Yeah, go
making
ahead.
fun of this guy. Interior, the perfect black leather interior is in show condition. Hold on, I need to go back. Perfect black
Show
leather
what? Show
in
who?
show condition. The car has 86,000 miles on it.
Sounds like a winner, man.
No 77 Corvette with 86,000 miles has perfect black leather interior, and it's probably not even leather. Right?
What's that
Wasn't it
dude's name? The Corvette guy?
Hank?
Hank would dig that.
Oh man, this is Hank all day. The upgraded sound system is of high quality, of course. Why of course? This is where he really loses me. Both of these phrases. All in all, this is one of the nicest I've had the privilege to appraise. It's a Corvette that will prove to be an excellent long-term investment. So
That's bad enough that I have no comment. I'm done. Like that, you can just.
I have comments.
That's not an appraisal. That's an opinionated review of his car.
I feel like this guy, like the owner of the Corvette, wrote the description and then the appraisal guy stamped it. That's what this feels like to me, because it's all subjective. When I write my appraisals, they're 98% objective.
It's like a 1995 Auto Trader ad.
Yeah. So bad. But then, like, so that's why I read off the list of this guy's credentials at the beginning, because I'm like, this is
Did you
terrible.
Google any of them just to see if they're
this was
real?
like the entire
Besides
appraisal.
FCCA?
Mine are like 2 pages long. You'd fall asleep reading them on here. There are many thousands of dollars spent in upgrades. Market value. All early Corvettes are appreciating in value the early part of the 21st century.
I wish, because I got a couple for sale.
Right? The investment thing lost me too. But here's okay. So I want to 1977 Corvette.
Yeah.
With an upgraded sound system, which is a detraction on value. We know that. 3-spoke chromey, like 19-inch wheels.
Was it a manual transmission? Was it L48? Was it L88?
80. He didn't say any of those
I'm
things.
saying, but those are your. There you go.
No, I know. None of the pertinent details. We just know it's a 77 Corvette with a 350 V8, 86,000 miles, red, with janky wheels and a big stereo. Give me your number.
$5,000.
You're a little light. I think 10 retail. You ready?
Not with those wheels.
You ready? You're ready for his number?
What, 38 grand?
41.5.
Well, do you know what that guy's going to do? He's going to write to his insurance because he's going to drive that thing right in the leg.
No, but this guy was trying to use this appraisal to trade it in.
Well, you should call his insurance company and go to Lake Erie.
In my professional opinion, as a certified collector car appraiser with over 43 years experience, the current market value of this 1977 Corvette T-Top with capitalized ultra low mileage. 86,000 is not ultra low mileage. This guy, oh man, Jerry Martell, certified appraisers.
Jerry, you the man.
Oh my God.
You the man, Jerry.
That is
I want to see what his car looks like.
unequivocally the worst appraisal I've
Wow.
ever seen.
It's even got the chrome door guards. How do you get that on a fiberglass door? I want to show you because it's that bad.
Oh my goodness!
Jerry-
I'll post it
Jerry
on my
rolls up-
I'll post it on my
Jerry
Instagram
rolls up
story
in a-
for you guys
Yeah,
watching.
you should. Jerry rolls up in like a 1995 Buick Regal with rust holes in the quarter panels. He's like, this thing's mint.
It's appraised at $25,000. Oh man,
It's matching numbers though. You didn't even say that.
nothing. There's no details that matter to the value because, yeah.
Now, in order to reproduce something that bad, it might take $40,000.
Oh man, those are wheels you would see in the hood. That's a car you would see in the hood.
That's almost like a Corvette donk. It is. That's not red. That's your color. That's like
Burgundy.
maroon.
I know.
It does have the alarm
It
system.
didn't even say if it was you said this. It didn't say what transmission it was, automatic or
didn't say,
manual.
yeah.
It's terrible. Terrible appraisal.
Way to go, Jerry.
Way to go, Jerry.
Jerry of the day. Oh, man.
We have another super chat.
Okay.
This one's from Jeremiah Johnson here. What's the closest call you've had with maintenance? Example, you're changing your timing belt and find it was ready to snap.
I drive a Porsche 997 in the winter that burns oil, so I'm having a close call every day.
Oh, do I have one?
Yeah.
I take good care of my cars.
Shut up.
Oh, that
doesn't mean anything. The actual closest call was we had a Ferrari 355 that's supposed to have the timing belts changed every 3 years. And a lot of people say it's not the timing belts, it's the tensioners that'll actually fail. And at 2.5 years, we changed it because we were reselling the car. And it's like, well, you just have to do it to sell it. And one of the tensioner bearings was like on its way out when we changed the belts at 2.5 years. So that was,
I mean, I've seen
that was a close call.
calls. I mean, I've experienced some close calls, that's for sure. When I was 18, I bought a winter beater Honda CRX. And here you go, buyer beware. Bought it from somebody I actually know. And I go, is it rusty? He goes, no rust on this car. I'm like, I'll just take it. It was like $2,000. I took a loan out to get it. I needed to get closer to the mic, I guess.
I guess.
It's like in your nose.
And I had this car for like 6 months. And on my drive home, I could kick my foot through the floor pan. It was that rusty.
Ugh.
And I already bought it, signed the loan documents, had to deal with it. And then I was working on somebody's car. I left that in the street, came back, and there was a note on my windshield saying, "Sorry, I hit your car." And I'm like, whatever. And a week later, the frame snapped. I'm driving down the road, and the car went like crab walk. I was like, oh, that's because when the lady hit it, the thing was so rusty that the frame it just snapped it. So I didn't hit anything. I got it home. I taught everybody I know how to drive stick on that car in my parents' development. And then I took the motor out of it, put a cinder block under the hood, and sold to a junkyard.
There you go.
$200 later.
Well, it is that time of the night for the props and flops of the week. The props and flops are brought to you by Switch Cars. Switch Cars is the enthusiast dealership where we buy, sell, service, and store only cars that we like ourselves, unless you pay us enough money. Check out our hand-picked inventory at switchcars.com. The pick of the week from Switch Cars inventory is 1974 BMW 2002 TII in Inca Orange with some very nice upgrades, modifications, repaint in the original color about 10 years ago, and a complete engine rebuild at the same time. That car is on Bring a Trailer this week, and I will provide the link to our producer, which I forgot to do, so he can link it in the show notes if you would like to check it out. You can also follow that link from switchcars.com. Our flop of the week, picking up on transport sagas, which I know a lot of you loved that episode a while back, we got a call from a company this week who wanted to take a load for Switch Cars. We specifically state on the load board when we post cars, must have 500,000 plus cargo insurance and 100% feedback, which eliminates a lot of the garbage phone calls from companies that are terrible. However, this particular company either didn't read or just figured they'd try anyway, because they called us, wanted to take the load, but when we searched their feedback, one of the most recent reviews of their company stated the following, quote, driver didn't have correct docs, and then he got mad when asked and tried to reload my car. We had to call the police. And then, not surprisingly, in the system for this company, they have Rappaport LLC 1 and Rappaport LLC 2. Yeah, that's always a big red flag. You get too many negative feedbacks or insurance claims or whatever. These companies just shut down and start a new company to start from scratch. So, yeah, probably Rappaport LLC 3 coming very soon.
Yeah, coming your way.
Coming to a parking lot near you to load your vehicle.
There's a number at the end of your transport company. Think twice.
Yikes. The prop of the week, speaking of BMW 2002s, there's a great article by Sean Keeley on BMW blog about a 1970 BMW 2002 that remained with its original owner nearly its entire life. The kids, and I believe also the grandkids, all learned to drive stick shift on it. They took many family road trips together, and the owner racked up 897,000 miles. Just 2 engine rebuilds in that period, not too shabby, about $300K each. And I guess they pulled it out of storage recently after the owner passed away and his kids inherited it, and basically did a minor service, a tune-up, and it runs beautifully, has great leak down and compression, and they are continuing that legacy of that car. So, and of course it's Southern California owned or Northern California, so there's no rust, so that car will go pretty much forever if it doesn't see salt. So it really kind of feel good story there. The link to that article is in the show notes, so go ahead and check that article out. It'll make you feel real good. So anyway, if you'd like to stick around for live Q&A afterwards for our YouTube and Instagram viewers, stick around. We'll have what we call Tip Talk for the rest of you listening to the recorded show. That will wrap it up. Thank you to my co-host, Jon Sabo. Thank you to our sponsors, Boxcast, Nuts for Sticks, Switch Cars, Celebrity Machines, Parallel Printworks, and Stephen Home Woodworking. Special thanks to our producer, Ethan Huffnagel. Ethan. Our bumper music is provided by Emily and Ivory. You can stream the full album on Spotify or SoundCloud. This episode will be available next Monday in audio format wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. as we look forward to edifying, educating, and entertaining you on the drive of your life.
Cool.
All right. Live Q&A. Stick around.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We have another super chat.
This is where the gloves come off, right? Or
yes, that's
clothes come off or something. I don't know.
Hey. Get further out of the Instagram frame there.
We'll move this mic a little further over.
Super chat from Fanfic Rocks again. He apologized for the confusing question there. He had his terminology wrong here. He says, I screwed up my freebie. I was talking about the colors that are considered signature colors to a specific make. And he doesn't want to know like the chroma coordination. I forget the term he uses, but he meant like a list of the specific, like the hex codes you can get for those. That's what he was wondering. Either of you know if... Specifically, he wants to know Porsche Mexico Blue. Okay. He wants to know the hex code for that.
I don't know.
I've
had a lot of luck. I think I know what he's talking about. And it's like, because I was searching for a specific code recently. I don't remember what color, but it wasn't just like the internal code, right? So Porsche has like J5 is their green, right? That doesn't mean anything when you go to a body shop to get it fixed. They want to know like the number,
the variations,
right? Like how much blue, how much green, how much this, whatever. So I don't think there's any like big magic database anywhere that you can get that, but I remember recently just Googling enough in the right terms that I found a color that I need to get paintwork on a car. That couldn't find the color code, but I found like the actual formula online of like this much blue, this much green, whatever, and that got us close enough. But it was
they have those.
It wasn't easy to find.
There's so many. Like you take a red car. Red car's hard to match. White cars are actually really hard to match. You know, They have meters that can tell you that help you go in that direction.
So you're never going to find like this is the hex code for Mexico Blue.
That's why body shops have like the scan things that they can take a sample.
Did you ever see a car like the body's one color and the bumpers are another, and it's from the factory? That's not It's not somebody screwed up. Like Honda, like S2000s were huge. Like the Spa yellow cars.
Yeah, the
bumpers were completely different color than the car. So a lot of people went to their body shop, had the bumpers resprayed to match the car. It was that's just how, because they were painted in a different place. Like your bumper paint shop was over here, and your body was over here.
Right.
There's no exact science to it. And we've done it even where I think on my Midnight Blue Metallic car, I took the bumper off and sent it to the shop because I didn't want to take the whole car there. And I gave them the paint code, and they used the paint code, matched it, and it didn't match because it's like you can take the specific paint formula and you could mix it at 8 different places and get 8 different
Pro
variations.
tip: if you ever gonna paint like a bumper, you're gonna hand them the bumper, like pop your gas cap off or gas door
Right.
off or something like that, so
Yep.
they can match it to that.
Yep.
So
That's
yeah,
actually
for all
what he
those
asked for.
for all those ones that are like you mentioned, this one specific to the manufacturer.
A lot of them won't
Good.
release it.
Sure.
Ferrari
no
sure
idea.
as crap isn't going to give you their formula.
Yeah, right. Well, actually, Devin Ruckus had a piggyback question off of that. Are there any colors that manufacturers just like straight up will refuse to paint that you know of?
Yeah, I mean there is some of that. Like Ferrari doesn't like painting cars in Porsche specific. Like Mexico blue is historic, Porsche color. They don't like to do stuff. They don't like to cross contaminate like that.
They'll probably just rename it though.
Yeah, they'll do it. I mean, for the right amount of money, they'll do probably anything. But they
Or
don't.
there's-
There's a lot of things they don't like to. There's Carrera GTs and there's GT3s that are painted in maybe Rosso Corsa or something like that. Because you go in. I'm thinking here, like BMW. If you go in individual color, Rosso Corsa's in BMW's individual color catalog. You can get it. Mm-hmm. You can also get Mexico blue in BMW's catalog. Audi's catalog. Like they're out there.
Ferrari has too much pride for that though.
Right, yeah.
But no, there are
Okay.
colors. There are colors that manufacturers have had quality issues with that they'll
Yeah.
discontinue. So like RS Orange, that was famous on the 2007
Pastel
08 GT3 RSs. They discontinued that in 2010 because they were having like essentially longevity. It didn't pass their long-term quality
Had UV
test.
issues.
Right. So they replaced it with pastel orange. So if you went back to them and said, hey, paint this RS orange, they probably wouldn't do it because it doesn't pass their
It would be pastel
quality
orange.
test. Yeah, it would be pastel. So yeah, there's some of that.
Yep.
Could you paint a sample Vanta black or whatever the blackest black is?
I've seen that. No, nobody will do that.
Is that even possible? Can you do that?
I mean, again, certain manufacturers
Be super cool.
I just doubt it though. Have you ever seen a car in that color? It's like a black hole.
Yeah, it's
It's
insane. It
crazy.
doesn't even look like a color.
It just looks like
It's
a
like
void.
Yeah,
Looks
it's
like it doesn't
incredibly
exist.
fascinating to
Yeah.
look at.
Need a cannonball with that color.
At night, you literally disappear.
There
Yeah.
you go. It's very. I mean, and that's like me looking at it through a computer screen, so I don't even know. I can't even fathom what that looks like.
I've never seen it in person either. It's all been
wild.
just digital images.
Will a Nissan Altima manual ever be valuable? From Niche Motors, Kent.
That's actually that's actually funny because I had a there was an argument once that the 3.5 liter Altimas were going to become collectible because they were
It's a great engine.
yeah, and it was and my answer to them was probably not.
Yeah.
No, but
think
they
you're gonna
will.
see that on a
They
Saturday
will
at Bear
because
Track.
there's going to be so few left that have
There'll be none left.
original paint. Right.
be
But
none
so
left.
the 3 that are left will become insanely
Somebody's
valuable.
grandpa's garage and is that an Altima 3.5?
How many warrants are out on this car?
I don't know. Go. Just yeah.
I
Alan-
got one here. All right,
Oh,
question. We didn't cover this in the main topic, but it was the main episode. But the question of the week brought to us by Nuts for Sticks, which is fully restocked now on the Keep Your Woman Butt Switch Cars T-shirt. So check out nutsforsticks.com for your sweet and sarcastic merchandise. Flip Wilson via switchcast.live, and this is a great question for Sabo. If money were no object, which ridiculously low mileage, never driven in rain, cream puff collector car would you buy with the intention of beating the snot out of it for maximum enjoyment? And what would you do with it?
I mean, you know the answer to this question. I mean, the money's no object.
Money's no object.
I mean, I'm not going to do
I feel like it has to be at least like 15 years old too for this to count, because otherwise you could just buy a new car with no miles and then drive it. But
like McLaren F1.
What would you buy that somebody kept in a bubble like that everybody is?
Give me some sort of price. Like you have to go. Money no object.
Literally unlimited money.
Everybody's like McLaren F1.
But there are no bubble McLaren F1s probably. Are there? I don't know. Would that be the thing though?
I mean, that would be a tough one to say no to, and that'd be fun to beat the pee-pee off of. I mean, F40 is obviously always like number one on my list. Yeah, there you go.
I've always thought of that. Like if I had unlimited money, I'd go out and buy brand new old cars that people had just kept perfect and in a bubble, and just leave and give them the money and just burn out out of their.
Remember that story? I sold a 97 993 Turbo S to a gentleman in Texas. It had 181 miles on it. This was like 2014 maybe? 14 maybe? Ha, microphone. And
talk to them, not me.
Don't look at me then. And I sold
Not
this to the
looking at
guy.
your face.
He goes, well, just make sure you service the car. I'm like, yeah, no problem. He's like, including fresh tires. I'm like, you want me to take all the original everything off? He goes, yes. And he goes, he flies in. He took it for a test drive. He called me a year and a half later. He goes, I'm done with it. I want something else. It had 3,500 miles on it. He just took it home and drove it. He goes, I missed my opportunity when I was younger to buy this car brand new. I lived my experience.
That's cool.
Yeah. And, I mean, crazy time, perfect timing. The guy did that and made money. But he had no intent. He had no idea that was going to happen. He paid all the money in the world for a 0-mile car and then just drove it. He threatened to drive it home to Texas.
That's awesome.
But he was afraid that even though it was fully serviced, that, it's hard to promise that it's going to make a 2,000-mile trek.
I would love doing that.
Yeah.
What is the prognosis of automotive tuning / classic restoration shops in coming years?
Tuning's
getting tougher.
Almost on its way out with what the EPA is doing. Restoration shops, I think, are fine. I mean, there's a lot of restrictions on them in terms of what they can do. Chroming's definitely out, but they're finding their way around that. Well, chroming was a terrible process anyway, so they're doing powder coating now, which is better and it lasts.
They also have another process now too that's really good.
Yeah. So they're like, restorations will be around. Tuning,
old cars
I don't know.
Away. Tuning is like stuff that you used to have to go to a shop and have a chip inputted or a flash in your car. You can almost just download it at your house and buy a loader and throw it in.
Well, the EPA is cracking down on that stuff so much. They did,
like Cobb and all those guys.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, but
it's almost not worth it.
Well, and the manufacturers are getting way wiser to under warranty cars, and they're finding them and flagging car. Audi's big time in it right now. They're flagging a lot of cars.
Yeah. All right, one more. Pick the best one.
You guys are Porsche guys here. Is a 997 GT3 RS 4.0 worth the premium worth over... Wait, what? Is a 997 GT3 RS 4.0 worth the premium worth over a 3.8 RS?
Depends how much money's in your bank account. I mean, I hate to say that, but I mean, you're looking at, what, 750 to 8 for really...
Basically, double.
It's not double anymore.
It's double, and then some
I'm thinking
of a 3.8. Yeah, not a paint sample, but we'll just call it double a 3.8. Dollar for dollar, like performance for dollar, no, it's not. You're paying for exclusivity and collectability and all those things. Same thing with an RS to a GT3. The premium is not worth it from a performance standpoint, but you're buying something other than just... If people were only buying performance for dollar, they'd all buy Corvettes.
Anytime a Porsche puts a one of number on a car, 4.0 is one of 600 global cars.
Yeah.
There was 120 that came to the U.S., something like that. I mean, anytime you do put a number on a car, it tends to keep prop value up.
Yeah. But I'd rather put the money somewhere else. I answer the question in that I'd say, like, I would rather have a 3.8 RS and $400,000 worth of other cars, because to me it's about the life experience. Like, how much can I experience
money's
in a short term?
Yeah, but the 3.8 is 95% or 92% of what.
Yeah, it's a 90% of the car for 50% of the money. So
driven one, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Buy the 3.8 and put a Ferrari and a Lotus in your garage also. That's what I would do.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, $600,000-$700,000 is nothing to squawk at.
Yep. Well, thank you all. See you next week.